Yo, 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 can you guys hear me okay? Fiddling with settings again. I don't know why, because I never seem to have a problem if I don't fiddle with stuff, but I fiddle with stuff anyway. Good evening. Good evening to everybody out there. Thanks for coming in on a lovely Monday. Ah, wow. Ion Codes, welcome. Welcome to the live session, my friend. It's great to have you. It's been a week since the last one. The last one ended on a little bit of failure again, which seems to be fitting for the streams of late, but as usual, I realized what the issue was about 5 seconds after hitting the stop button. And it was openly discussed in the Discord channel, so that's the first thing that we're going to hit this evening is nailing that problem, and then we're going to move on to filling in a couple of other holes that we've left in the code base, and then from there we might actually start looking at something a bit more substantial. It just depends on what people want to do. We've still got a lot of functionality to build out, so get ready for the fun stuff that's coming, such as channels and schedulers and things. So that should be funsies. But yeah, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated. I see there are a bunch of regulars paying attention. Which is always a pleasure to have you here. So I hope you've got your tea. I know Archbishop has his tea. This is my tea. I have Back to the Dongding tonight. The high quality oolong tea from T2. What do you guys got? I also ducked out into the... Hey, mens. Ducked out into the fridge to pick up another packet of the old 90%. And what did I find? We're stuck with 70. It's a little more sweet than usual, but it's not terrible. But we seem to be out of 90%, so 70% it is. Ooh, Melbourne Brekkie. Yeah, nice. Hey, Outwolf. Yeah, you didn't really miss something, mate. I was just chewing the fat as usual with the regulars. Dean's in, and so's Barney. Yes. Yes, it is only 70%. I think Amy prefers the 70%. I prefer the 90. But we're out of 90, so... I'm trying not to speak with my mouth full because I get told off. Very tasty. Very nice. So, I won't dilly-dally too long. Hi, Juice. Thanks for taking me climbing. Too bad those didn't go from Will. Yeah, you're welcome, my friend. That was so much fun. I had a really good time. Had a good turnout from the crew as well. So for those who weren't there, we were hanging out in Canberra and we went down to Blockhouse and had a bouldering session with some of the peeps, some from stream, some from school, some from work. It was really good fun. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. So Barney and his boy Will, Archbishop was there. We had a few people who don't appear on stream too much, but Smashery was there too. Vendetta was there. I think they're the only mentions that appear on stream that you would know by name. So, just wondering, does the hex in your background actually mean anything? Yes, it does. It does have meaning. This is kind of the background that was designed by the design company that I hired to make branding for the business. And they chose to do this, and I kind of like it. But yeah, it does have meaning. I'll leave it up to you to figure out what it is. And given that recently, Menz, you managed to come first in a CTF all by your lonesome, I'm sure it's not going to be above your pay grade. Rasta Mouse. Rasta, thank you for the sub, my friends. Pleasure. Pleasure having you on. You are a legend, my friend. Thank you for joining in as always. So I'm already feeling pretty warm. I might have to lose a layer. So, okay, now, where were we at? Like I said, it was a week ago since we last streamed, since we last did some code, and it was a particularly frustrating end. But anyway, let's just fire this up. Just double checking my OPSEC at the moment. Pretty sure that everything here is looking good. Yep. Okay, and let's get rid of my ugly face. There we go. I do mean oopsec. Hey, Mongo's in the house as well. Thanks for coming in, Mongo. Okay, so when I mucked around on stream last time, we had this issue where we were invoking this RTL OS version, RTL get version function and passing in a reference to this RTL OS version info ex function. Member. And this is just a structure. So we were looking at the documentation of that, and what we found when we ran this was, actually let's actually we'll do a quick check. Just to recap. Are you allowed to share a picture of me? If it's not indecent, yeah, you can share a picture. Lewds only. Damn. This is what happens. This is what happens, people, when you let other people get in and take photos of you. So I'm just going to run this, because what I want you to see is when we have V listed here, you can see that we're passing in something of 284 bytes in size, and everything's pretty much set to 0. But when we hit F10 and we step over, you see that our size goes to 0, and we don't get these parameters down the bottom here. They all seem to be zeroed out. So when I finished off stream, I thought, hang on a minute, what on earth are we doing? Because we're referencing out, and what happens if we use ref parameters instead? So you can see here we've got this function here marked as out parameter. And there's actually a really important semantic difference between the ref keyword and the out keyword. So I pre-Googled this, just so you know. And this post here on Stack Overflow actually sums it up really nicely. So this line here, while ref, whoops, let me go back. While ref is two ways, out is out only. So whatever it is, if we're using out, whatever it is we put in the structure and send in, it doesn't actually appear at the other end. Ref allows us to initialize stuff and send it in prior to it being read out. So the dumb answer is, let's change this out keyword to ref. Build, fire it up, and here we should see that V actually has stuff in it now, which we were hoping for, including the product type. That was the thing that was killing us. So lo and behold, what are you going to do? I also changed this character set, but I'm not sure whether I did that on stream last time or not. So just so you know, we've got Unicode as the character set and unmanaged type bival t-string with the exact size listed here. So there you go. That was the solution to our problem before. Okay, so did someone clip that? I'm not sure what that was. AJ Reeves, good news. Made the leap, mate. I'm now full-time self-employed. Yay! Rastamouse, that's big news, my friend. Congratulations on the move. That's huge. That is huge. People, if you know people all over the world that need securities in their things, point the fingers at the Rastamouses of the world. Support the boy. Congrats, man. That's a big move. I know exactly how that feels. It's pretty epic. So super proud of you, man. That's really good. And best of luck with it. Hey, I really hope it goes well for you, mate. All right, so let's go back to our sessions. And I'm going to type sysinfo again. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. Right, so here's the biggie. We're actually seeing Windows 10 rather than Windows 8 or whatever it was. So the build's coming through fine. Everything there seems to be coming through fine. So that's a winner. Right, so Rasta Labs. Yes, for those people who haven't played with Rasta Labs, that's Rasta's contribution to the educational side of our industry. And full disclosure, I haven't had a play in this yet. It is on my to-do list, but from what I've heard, it is the shiz, and you will learn a bucket load of stuff while playing in there. So show your support, get yourself some learnings, and fire up Hack the Box and sign up to Rasta Labs, because you will learn all the things. Now, give me a sec. I need to remove this jumper because I am warm. There we go. That's better. Yes, that's right. I didn't say I'm hot. I didn't want to put up with the trolling. Okay, anyway. Yeah, Iron Codes, do it. Do it. You'll be supporting a good man with some fantastic content. You'll be learning some epic stuff at the same time. Right, so that means we're kind of at the point where the version stuff does what we want, except for a couple of very small differences. So this is workstation function at the moment refers to our own custom is workstation function. Now you'll see that what we're doing is we're actually querying the registry to get that out, and now we don't actually need to do that. So I'm going to get rid of this. Maybe for now I'll comment it out. We're not going to end up using it, I don't think. So instead of is workstation, we need to have a look at v.dw platform ID equals. Now let's go back to the documentation for RTL get version, because we want to have a quick look at the constants that are referred to in this. Is it this one? No, previous one. Next one. So what we're looking for with the platform ID, so our product type, that's right. Product type is workstation. Now we did have that defined somewhere, don't we? I think it's just 1. There you go, it's 1. All right. So inside our code, do we actually keep that from last time? Oh, there you go. It is there already. So we just want to compare platform ID to the NT workstation. And that should give us exactly what it is we're looking for. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, that is not what we were looking for. Just wait up 1 second. I need to kill that off. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. Why is that? Platform ID is 2. Am I looking at the wrong thing again? Product type. I blame you people. Product type is what I should have been doing. Hey, Pink Tangent's in. Say hello to the lovely Pink Tangent people. Good friend of mine from down in Melbourne. And she is magic. For those people who don't know, she's behind the B-Sides Melbourne movement, and she's over in Italy actually. Oh, that's right, I keep forgetting. She's on holiday at the moment. Over on holiday, enjoying herself in Italy. I hope you and the young ones are doing well over there, mate. Thank you for joining in for the very small period of time that you may be with us. Just leave this here while I guess make... Oh no, what is this? Hey! Barney, I hate you and your trolls, but that's actually pretty funny. You should post that on the twits. Well played. Moving on before I get embarrassed. Okay. Now with the RTL get version stuff out of the way, we can probably get rid of this define now and just kick all of the other nonsense that we had in here. And we'll just stick to the version that we know actually works. So let me just quickly try this again. Make sure that we get what we want. Sysinfo. There we go, Windows 10. Okay. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Any questions? I'm guessing not. So we've got Melbourne breakfast, we've got English breakfast, we've got Dong Ding Oolong, but from what I can tell, not many people have anything else. Dean, what are you swigging on? Switch case instead of else if. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, because there are cases here where we do actually need ifs, and it seems better and less messy in my view to just maintain consistency across them. Plus, that's how the Meterpreter native implementation actually does it as well. Oh, French Earl. I'm not familiar with French Earl. Sounds like it's right up your alley though, Dean. English brekkie for men's as well. English brekkie extra strong. If you're a fan of English brekkie, you should try the Irish brekkie as well. That's got a really strong bite to it too. Now I'm just gonna change this to RTLOS version info EX because I'm a bit of a stickler for keeping things consistent. And what I'm going to do is I'll probably end up moving this function out at some point. So for now, we'll just leave it here. We may, depending on our approach, remember, define this pinvoke related stuff in a different way. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. 2 bags, 1 sugar, dash of milk, 1 sugar. I used to have sugar in my tea, but I don't anymore. Okay. All right, so with that out of the way, let's have a quick look at the other. Do we have a couple of other to-dos in here? Support compression, yes indeed. Change transports. There's something else I was looking at here. Valet space code we impersonate. Oh, okay, so that's something we can't quite do and we probably won't do on this stream. Move this to the channel manager of some kind. I could have sworn there was load extension, yeah. I could have sworn there was something else, some other functionality where there was, it was in netconfig. Yeah, that's right. We didn't get through this, did we? So remember that when we started into implementing this get interfaces thing, we found it to be particularly quirky. So that's something that we need to remedy. Condensed milk instead of regular milk. What do we got here? Zookeeper, black coffee for you, 515. Can't do. That's fair. You'll feel a decent hit. Okay, so when we did this config thing, let's quickly have a look at the native implementation of this again because it's been a while since we looked at it. So, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do it in here. Get config, get interfaces. Java. There's got to be one in C here. Here we go. So we want to implement this, which is specified in netconfig interface.c. Remember, oh, someone's speaking in languages I don't understand. Death to Java. Indeed. Righto, so this get interfaces function enumerates stuff. Now I remember looking at this a long time ago and thinking, you know what, there's a lot of messy stuff in here. Partly because there was some OS specifics in here that I was really not a fan of. So let's just have a quick look at what this is doing. So you can see declaring up front a bunch of stuff, including this awful function pointer. Now what do we got here? Use the newer version so we're guaranteed to have a large enough struct. Unfortunately, using these probably means it won't compile on older versions of Visual Studio. That's okay, we don't have that problem. IP adapter prefix is only defined on greater than or equal to XP. That's fine as well. We can't rely on the length parameter of this to tell us if we're on Vista or not because it always comes out at 48 bytes, so we have to check the version manually. Okay, well isn't that interesting? So I'm assuming there's an RTL get version call in here or something along those lines. Get version EX. Right, so we pull the version info out and then I assume down here we go. Well, at least we know we can reuse some of this functionality, right? Vista Plus. Geez, this is messy, isn't it, hey? But in order to maintain compatibility, we should probably look to do something similar. The only problem I've got is I would really like to avoid using pinvoke for this, because I'm pretty sure that in here we've got everything that we would expect to see. Now what I might actually do, speaking Italian for you, if only I was that talented. Alright, just bear with me, I'm gonna just modify the source of this for a minute. I'm gonna change, I don't need that, I'm gonna change this to 445 and change that to 444. So instead of that, I'm gonna go Windows Meterpreter as TCP. So we're gonna have handler sitting on 4445 and 4444. Now I will also generate MSFNM payload Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP lhost equals 192.168.146.128 lport equals 4445. Format exe output to scratch. Just give me a second. Sorry, I'm just making sure I put things in the appropriate places. Pink Tangent, gifted a sub. You're gifting subs again, Barney. Naughty boy. Okay, so that should go, where did I can just put it in here. Okay. Stream net.exe. Now on the VM I have a I don't know what just happened to my virtual machine. Clearly it's not happy. We'll just let that boot for a sec. Sorry about that. I blame VMware. Oh, I just heard swear words in my ears. Alright, just give me a sec. I'm gonna just quickly fix it. Make sure that I've got everything working as I want it to. Sorry about that. This crash behind the scenes is forcing me to type in passwords, and I don't want to fail in the OPSEC world. So typing in my excessive SSH password, but you know, it's what it is. And now a bunch of files are corrupt, such as history files, which is always great. Okay, so I'm gonna have to type this out again. I'm gonna get rid of the OPSEC failure thing and bring the VM back online. Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks. Man, there's Italians everywhere. MSFNMP Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP lhost equals 192. Oh, it would have equaled if I didn't have numlock enabled. Reverse TCP lhost 192.168.146.128 L port 4445 format executable out to scratch stream met.exe. Please don't barf again. Okay, that's better. NSF console, quiet, and fire up local.rc. Okay, so here, what I'm gonna do is scratch stream. Hang on a minute, I need to check something. Not task manager. I just want to make sure that the virtual machine doesn't have in fact, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on, and it's on my host machine. I think Defender's turned itself on again. Let's have a look. Virus and threat protection, manage set. Yep, Windows Defender's back on, being annoying, interfering, poking its fingers in all the bits. So now we're going to have to exit out of that, do Venom again. It's funny, I've added these folders to like whitelists. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make a difference. So, sorry about the delay here, folks. This isn't particularly exciting. Defender for the win, yeah. It's not secure pass when it's... All right, let's kick this off. Hopefully it works. Righto, so if config. There isn't what? What? What is going on? Have I done something shockingly bad here? I feel like I have. Hang on. So we are listening. Yeah, Windows Meterpreter STSB on 4445. So that's what I connected on, right? 4445. I am confused. Volco. No. This is a Meterpreter command, mate. It should be in here, but I don't know why it's not. I don't know why. I am confused. So the networking command should have all of those in it. So yeah, very confused about that. Let's just try something different. Ah, wait up. Yeah, there you go. Actually, no, that's not the problem. Let me try something else. X64, and we'll throw that on 446. Interesting, hey? I don't really know what's going on there. But we'll do the same for this. Payload Windows X64. So we'll have a few running, and I'll try the 64-bit payload and see if that works. Man, full of failure again. Okay, 64 bits on 446, CLR's on 444. All right. Let's see what happens now with 64-bit. Look at that. I am blown away as to why that's not there. Oh man, someone's gifting subs again. Anonymous. Man, what's going on? I don't know who it is, and I swear it's only happening when Barney's on stream, so I can't help but think that it's Barney. What we need to do is have a vote for emotes. What emote shall I create next? Anonymous gifter. Far out. You keep saying that, Barney, but you know, it says here that you've gifted a lot of subs. +1 get system. Yeah, I had a feeling. See, I shouldn't have asked. I am actually really intrigued as to why this isn't working. Now, I would expect these networking commands to be full. But given that the purpose of this stream is not to debug the current implementation in Windows, in the native Meterp, I don't really know what we're going to have to do. But let's have a look again at what this is doing here. So this gets wired into... Actually, you know what? Sorry, we're going to digress slightly because I really want to know why this is busted. So, what's the core ext enum cmd? It's going to be in here somewhere. Oh no, it's enum ext cmd. Okay, here we go. So this is the bit that's actually reading whether or not things are working. So, oops, gvim that enum ext. So what's interesting about this? I think something is not. Oh, okay. Hang on. I think I know what's going on here. Or do I? Let's have a look at this response when we call it. Let's go standard error.puts response.inspect. I think we tweaked something here, didn't we? Pretty sure we did, and that might be why we're killing it. Can I make a get system counter for the overlay? Ah, you jerks. Okay, let's have a look. Righto, so... Oh yeah, okay, so this core enum ext returns nothing for, I would say, both of... What is it? It's doing it for priv, doing it for standard API. It's not even in there, is it? That's interesting. So the problem we've got here is Metasploit is not aware of all the features that Meterpreter has available. So instead of get loaded extension commands, we need to go down to load library. Actually, let's go to the definition of load library because here we go. Response. This is what I want to see. There we go. Every time someone mentions get system, do you usually prefer gvim to vim? I do use gvim most of the time purely because it gets me out of the console that I tend to use for other things. But I wouldn't say that I have a preference of one over the other. Did Barney the Rubble just gain? Yeah, well, that's what I thought, Atwolf. I thought that the gifter thing appeared miraculously, but then I scrolled back up and it did appear that Barney had it beforehand, but that could have been because of gifting it to Lydia. Anonymous. Anonymous. Okay. Oh, here we go. Check this out. Here we go. Sysnet. Look at them all. Sysnet config. They're all here. Look, see? Net config, get proxy, get SID, get routes, add route. Okay, so there's something interesting here, right? Have you guys noticed it as well? Process it. So there's a bunch of process stuff. I can't see in here. So we've got net config get routes. Now this is interesting, right? Because the function that we're defining here is config get interfaces. There it is. There it is. So it is there. It's there. So it is definitely being told that it's there. Okay, so once we've got this, what do we do with it? Client.add extension mod commands. Maybe there we go. I think that's what we're looking for. So it is all coming out, but the problem that we've got is that we're pulling strings out, but it's expecting a method. Isn't that interesting? I think this is something that we may have messed up. Ooh, someone's waving is that an animated pride flag? That's cool. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that TLV type string in get loaded extension commands as well, because one would assume that that's incorrect. That means that what I'm doing here is incorrect as well. Because, you know, this is really interesting because inside our plugin manager, what are we returning when we enumerate these things? Core enum ext cmd. So TLV type string. Is that what's killing us? Because we should be going method. This would explain some bits and pieces behind the scenes, wouldn't it? TLV type dot string core load lib, that should be method as well. This is a little bit confusing to me though, because if we're sending methods back, there should be only one method. Maybe it's the first one. What do we got here? What we're doing up here, sending out, yeah, that'd be a string for sure. Okay, so let's just build that. Now I'm gonna quickly restart MSF console here. This is me mucking with back compat a little bit, hey. Should have added a top cheer tag, did it not? Yeah, you've got top cheer at Wolf. Damn, I thought it. Links sec, hello. Greetings. Thank you for joining in on stream. All right, let's see what this does. Didn't help, did it? I hate this kind of stuff. This is irritating. It's not the kind of debugging I really want to be spending time on tonight. But it is what it is. Sometimes we have to do what we don't want to do. Well, that makes sense because that's not really what I wanted to do. I needed to go load library. This is a quirky tune. Sorry about this, guys. OJ, you mentioned a while back that you were going to mix up the streams with non-dev stuff. Yes, that's definitely going to happen, mate. I've been trying to sort of find the time to mix things up, but with life going a little bit on turbo of late, I've kind of kept the Meterpreter stuff consistent, because if you let the dev stuff slide, then things never get finished. But what I do want to do is add some non-developer streams in along the way, and I'm thinking of doing one this Thursday. I didn't see this appear, did you? What's going on? So after this, we got this is going to answer my question for sure. CTFs recently, there might be some fun ones. Yeah, absolutely agree. Linksec, category is filled with devs, not many hackers. Well, you know, some can argue that I'm not a hacker. I would argue the same. We're actually building hacking tools here, just so that you know. And we do stream breaking stuff, CTFs, etc., all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I get the pain, and I do get a lot of requests behind the scenes. Go, when are you going to do another CTF one? So maybe on Thursday we'll do like a CTF binary or something. Go back to our roots a little bit, see what happens. But I am interested in keeping you entertained in other ways. Now have a look at this. I'm still getting nothing. Why am I getting nothing? That should have been spat out. Oops. Ooh. Something's busted, isn't it? I really don't know what's going on. Maybe it's my my fairly dodgy setup. Try the 64-bit one. Clearly something's up, hey. Keep saying I want to stream stuff, so maybe I can do that now. Love to look at getting into some web hacking stuff. It's hard to come up with the content to stream. Web hacking is a really hard thing to live stream depending on your philosophy, right? Because I would argue that unless it's a contrived example or a CTF, you can't really live stream because you're going to drop Ode. And is that what you want to be doing? All right, let's put this response back on. Oops. Can't type tonight. Always be dropping Ode. I think looking at write-ups and rebuilding them for past CTS is a perfect thing to stream. For web-related stuff, I would agree. Something is seriously up here. We should be seeing debug output. Because we are calling load library behind the scenes. Is there an error being chucked behind the scenes that we're not seeing? Response.inspect. Something's up. Something is definitely up. This is very odd. I would have expected to see any output at all. Session manipulation fail. When you hit tab, things break horribly, eh? This may bring things to an abrupt end. Okay, so why are we not seeing any of these? Can I hack my own home? It's not a bad option, actually. Sorry, I just want to figure out what's going on here. My debug output should be spat out somewhere in here, and it's not. And I want to know why. So let me just check something. Welcome to Debugging in Ruby. I know the feeling, mate. Look at that. We don't even get in here. Load library should absolutely be called. Because this should come back blank. Commands.inspect. So we've got debug output there. And we've got debug output here. Calling load library. Commands from commands.inspect. Whew. I really don't know what's going on. Bring back Perl, yeah. Right. Here we go. Right, commands. So that's what this is. Which means... okay, so this does explain it. I'm surprised that the code currently sits like this. I'm just going to quickly confirm something. I do understand what's going on now, by the way, and it's exactly what I thought it would be. Metasploit framework. So we're going to have a look at def load library, which should be in client core. Okay, so just have a look at what's going on here. When we receive, this is what's in master at the moment, right? We return a method from a load library. Now, if we invoke load library, we got this client.add extension commands. So that is whatever comes out of the load library call. The problem is this. This TLV type method the TLV type method is actually associated with the method that came in for the packet. So every single packet that comes in that you see up here, let me find an example for you. Come on, where are you? Here we go. All right, see this? There's a method, and the method says it's called loadlib, right? Then every subsequent one is webcam stop, webcam, all of these methods that are associated with it. So what we're getting out of the Windows Meterpreter as it currently stands is a list of methods, but our code only looks at this first one, which is why we're only getting this. Now, Now, the reason why this is breaking on the very first call is because when we invoke core ext, sorry, enum ext cmd. So what's happening here is we invoke the command. When it comes back in here, where is the response? When the response comes back in, there is going to be one method in there already, right? So we iterate, oh, look at this. Master says TLV type string. Ooh, what's going on? @Wolf. Ah, okay, @Wolf, you're doing your banhammer thing. Thank you, sir. So this is interesting, right? Because we can see here that we're expecting a TLV type string, but with load library, hang on, so that's in get loaded extension commands. Aha, okay, so this makes more sense. When we call load library, we pull out methods. That would explain why. Okay, so this is the inconsistency that I need to fix here, and we should probably do this at some point across the board because it's not exactly intuitive. So with load library, we do need to return method, but with core ext, but with this, we need to return string. And this will hopefully solve our problem. Bit crap. Mute, not ban, give them a chance. You are a good boy. I didn't even see the messages, so you're all over it, mate. Let's minimize. Okay, there you go. Look at that. That's what I wanted to see. And now we can see all of the things. System commands, networking commands, IP config. That's what we wanted to see. This is what we now need to emulate. Okay, so I'm going to try and emulate this using .NET related stuff. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I'm really sorry that we had to go that far into this nonsense, but we did actually get to the bottom of it, so that's a good thing. That also means that in our current implementation here, we need to be consistent. So with core enum ext, we return a string. Sorry, not method. We return a string for this, and we make sure that we leave the existing one, which is loadlib. These get a method back, which is a little bit befuddling, but it is what it is, right? Sparkle Ops, hello. How are you? Nice to see you on stream. I don't think I've either not seen you appear for a very long time or at all. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's very nice to see your name appear. Thanks for coming in. Okay, all right, so that solves that problem. And now we know what we need to emulate on this side, so we can exit out of this and hopefully forget about all of the things Meterpreter. Metasploit. So look here, we can see that for each interface, we want to pull out the name, the MAC, MTU, and any IP addresses associated with stuff. Yeah, there are a few new people here, Archbishop. There are some names that I recognize, and there are some names that I don't. So LinksSec, I believe, is a new name that I'm not familiar with, but it's a pleasure to have on board. And Sparkle is definitely one I'm familiar with, but either haven't seen on stream or haven't seen for a long time. So forgive my poor memory. But yeah, it's lovely to see all the new faces like Ion Codes, who I think has finally made it on stream, probably because he or she is on a different time zone, and I'm not aware of where they are. Someone started at 5 AM and is on coffee. That could well have been you. Okay, we got any questions so far? Yeah, Barney. Barney's a newbie. All right, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to go back into our net config stuff. And I want to stick a breakpoint here. So I want to have a look. Right, so bearing in mind that we want to look at things like interface 1 has software loopback interface 1. So what can we dig out of these things? Is it the unicast addresses? I'm pretty sure it was the unicast addresses that we were looking at before, right? So there's only 2 interfaces. According to this, there's 3 interfaces. So we should probably look for interfaces. Okay, so let's have a look at what this interface looks like. So this is the Intel Gigabit Ethernet connection, Gigabit network connection. Now that's interface 7 according to this. So with that, what else do we get? We have Bluetooth device, yeah, which is interface 8. And do we get a third one? We get the software loopback interface. Okay, so we get all 3 interfaces, so that's pretty good. Man, you guys are talking, I can't keep up. Someone said you're a benevolent God. I assume that's not talking to me. Oh, that's right, I've already covered that. Melbourne representation is growing. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. You people. Name's Luca. Luca, it's good to know. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Ooh, we're back into the Italian. It was Zookeeper. Thank you. That's right. You're in Dallas, Texas. Excellent. I was in Austin not too long ago. Would have been good to sync up. So much Visual Studio Blackmagic. Are you looking at the immediate window? You know what? Most people don't know that the immediate window is a thing, but immediate window is effectively an ad hoc coding thing. So if you wanted to do things like string.is null or empty of ni.description, so there you go. It's false. It definitely has a value. And we can do ni.description. So you see what I mean? You can actually pull things. This is like a fully interactive console at the point where your breakpoint is met, and that is wonderful. Okay, 4 a.m. in Seattle. Wow, Volko, that's savage, my friend. Why would you represent IPv6 netmask instead of / notation? Hey, AppWolf, we're not here to have those religious arguments right now, okay? We'll just let that go through to the Wicketkeeper. I don't love OJ that much to get up that early. Yeah, amen to that, Archbishop. It's absolutely commitment. Rasta, yeah, never knew that. There you go. It's wonderful, isn't it? There's all kinds of crazy windows. We'll probably dig into them a little bit more over time. Okay, so the exciting thing about that start is that we know that the descriptions that we're looking to abuse are... Okay, so we need an interface index. We need to figure out where that index is coming from. Hang on a second. We don't want to go to the MIB implementation. So we've got index, MAC address, MAC name, interface MTU. Whereabouts is the name of this thing though? Because this is going through each of the adapters. MAC name, interface, that's going through the IPs. Here we go, network. Oh no, that's not it. IP prefix, prefix length. It's got to be listed in here somewhere, hasn't it? Oh, here it is there. So it's TLV type MAC name. So that'll be it there. All right, so first thing that's kind of exciting is that we're going to be creating a group. Now, I don't even remember how we implemented groups. But for each one of these interfaces, we're going to have a new one, right? So let's have a think about what it is that we're going to do. So our response.add group. Okay, so var TLV equals add group, and we give it a TLV type. Anyone have thought we've thought about this? The TLV type for the group is... I don't know what the group is. Do we have to give it a group? Do we have to give it a type? I guess we do. Let's go to the definition of this for a minute. This.add new TLV. this might not actually make sense because we actually want to add a series of, oh yeah, we do need to do it. So that's down the bottom. Here it is. Network interface. That makes sense. So we don't have network interface. So let's go add it. TLV type, transport, standard API stuff. All right, so we're going to need to find the definition of these kitties here in our payloads repo, which, oh, we've already got this open. Noobs. So let's just search for this in our source. I'll get the C implementer, here we go. So we're going to need pretty much, by the looks of it, these puppies here. Whew. Let's do some Vim magic, shall we? We got more trolling happening. Get around to implementing groups at the start. Yeah, that we did. At the in-laws tomorrow. Has anyone ever made stuff for MyGov? Played/made. I'm not going to answer that. OJ, how hack MyGov giving me more tax? Thanks, Atwolf, for sorting that out for me. Righto, so what do we got here? Standard API. I don't think we're going to need, we've got hostname and port. I think I might skip hostname and port for now. We'll go to interface MTU. So we need a uint. Oops. We need uints and we need to be 1402. 402U. So that's MTU. We've got flags, which is 1403. That's a string. Don't really know why that's a string, but we'll see. And then we've got index. We know what that one is. That's a uint. That's 1404. Interface, we've actually got, no, we don't need standard interface index. We've got standard API subnet, which is a raw. Didn't know that. I wonder why that's raw. And that's 20. Bit of a jump. Subnet, we got netmask. That's also raw, and that's 21. Gateway 22. That's also raw. Network route, which is a group. That's 23. IP prefix is a, what is that? That's a uint. Uint, and that's 24. Standard API ARP entry is a group. And that's 25. Okay, so I think this is where we're going to start getting to the bit that fits what we're looking for. Okay, so we've got standard API IP, which is a raw, and that is 30. Standard API MAC address, that's raw 31. MAC name is not raw, that's a string. 32. Network interface is a group. Here we go. That's our group, that's 33. IP6 scope. Oops. Pardon me. That's a raw 34. Nearly done. I'm going to include these because I think there's a good chance we're going to use them. subnet string. So subnets and subnet strings are different beasts. And that's 40. We've also got net mask string, which is 41. We got gateway string, which is 42. And route metric, which is a uint. And that's 43. Okay. That should get us going. So then back over here, we need to include standard API network interface. Did I wrote okay, did I write gateway, did I? Gateway. Oh, I did too. Thank you. Who is that? Miovo1. Thank you for that. CMOs can note also, can you allow cheers of less than 100 for quick notification of suggestions? Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Shall I do it now? Shall I do it live? Can I do it live? So that I can hear the blah, 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 whatever it is. How do I do that? Let's have a look. I'm looking at the Twitch app as we speak. Let's have a look. I'm looking at the settings. I'm looking at the settings. Here we go. So onboarding, bits and cheering, minimum bits. Okay, here we go. It's set to minimum. I can change it. We only recommend setting this above 1 to combat spam in chat. So what's it going to be? 10? 5? What should I make it? I don't care what it is. Minimum bits emote and minimum bits cheer. Cast your votes. 10? 10? 5? They say don't do it to 1 because you'll get spammy. Okay, 10. I've just saved it. 10, 10, 10. A few votes for 10, 1 for 5, 1 for -1, and that's Rasta. Screw that guy. OXA, thank you, Mugu. I agree. So 10 it is. Who wants to try it out? No pressure. You don't have to waste your bits. There you go. Thank you, Russ. Atwolf. Like a charm. Okay, so that means we can add tlv.add tlv type dot standard API. Now, what was it called? It was... Should go back to the code and have a look because it's here, isn't it? Down the bottom, interface, that's the group. MTU Mac name, that was it. Standard API Mac name, and that is ni.description. Okay, we're finally making progress. Actually, so this implicitly will add stuff to the group behind the scenes, so when it serializes, everything should be fine. Alrighty, so with that in place, we are now looking to, we're going to have to pull, once we've got the name, we want to get a few other bits and pieces out. So I'm just going to rebuild, and we'll have a look at what this looks like. Any questions, anybody? You can see that we're trying to avoid using pinvoke for this. If we can match it, that would be great. Yeah, I'd say it is a bug, mate. What are we talking here? It looks like -1 or something like that. So it's a uint that's cast to a... oh, I'm still getting these spat out. Yeah, I think that's a bug. New background for my face. It's a PDF. Keep calm. Hey, did you know there was actually a meme related to this back in the day, which with basically just went segfault with random characters, like the old school smash the stack for fun and profit output, and that went pretty viral. It was actually quite fun. Okay, so what am I trying to do now? Okay, so we've got the name, we've got type, speed, supports multicast. So I would say that the NI itself doesn't look like it's going to help us anymore. So we're going to have to pull in things, I guess, that are hanging off the network interface. Let's see what we got. I don't really care about these sorts of things. Description's good. What I would like to know is how we're going to get the index. Thank you, Gumboss. I heard that. I heard that noise. I don't know where that's going to come from, to be honest. If we can extract it. Ooh, IPv6 index. Index. Where do we get the index from? ni dot get IP properties. Returns an object that describes the config of this network interface. All right, so let's have a look at this. Oh, we've already got it in IP. Ni dot get physical address. That's probably going to give us the Mac related stuff. So we'll get that out. What else can we grab? ID. What was ID? Was that just a like Ethernet or something along those lines? Operational status, get hashcode, get IP properties, get IPv4 statistics. Let's just have a quick look at what that gives us. Okay. Number 2, baby. Woohoo! Okay, so let's have a look at physical. Static, non-public. That's not really what I was hoping for. Get physical. Oh, okay, so that returns, what is it? A physical address. And a physical address. So we can toString this. Dot toString. Okay, so that looks similar to the Mac, right? So which one are we looking at here? There it is there. Okay, so we can actually convert that to a string. Be nice if we could. Oh, here we go. Get address bytes. Physical dot get address bytes. All right, that might be better. Okay, so if we go back to Meterp's current implementation where we actually get the MAC address. So you go index, MAC address. Okay, it's expecting raw, so that's cool. Because we don't actually deal with the string outside of it. Okay, cool. So we can literally go tlv.add tlv type.stdapi MAC address, and we're going to give it physical.get address bytes. Slowly, slowly. Anybody in chat heading to summer camp? What's summer camp, Gumbos? Ah, that did build. Build, damn you. What did I miss? There we go. Typo. Thank you, Mugu. Vegas. Oh, Eric's here too. Sorry, Eric, I didn't see you in here earlier, mate. Okay, so that means that our TOV packet should have two things in it. One of them is the MAC name, which is the Intel blah blah blah, and the other one should be the raw bytes. Beauty. All right, that's a winner. I want to get hold of the interface name. Sorry, the interface index, and I don't really know how we're going to get that because, I mean, it's on the network interface under a non-public member, see? Index is there. But how do we get to it? Hashcode. what is in this? IPv4 stats, which we don't really care about. IP properties doesn't have it either, does it? Nope. That's really not helping us either. I want this value. I want the value. ID is clearly not what we're looking for either. We've got the physical address stuff. IP properties, supports, network interface component. Oh, okay. So that's not really helping us either. There's got to be a way of getting to this without using reflection. I really don't want to use reflection to get that. Can anyone come up with any suggestions as to how we're going to get this? Loopback interface index is 1. Anyone? Reflection? Ooh. Gombos, the SpectreOps RTO training is really good. Let's ask the Googles. C#. Get all network interfaces. So we should say that's going to return a network interface, isn't it? C# network interface. Get index. How to get a network adapter index. That's what we want to see. Adapter supports blah. Continue. Okay, get IPv4 properties. Oh, so it's off the IPv4 thing. So we've got IP properties. That gets the adapter properties. So we can pull it off of IPv4 interface properties, which is a bit strange given that the adapter itself has its own index hanging off it. But given that we are getting it from... Let's just cancel that for a minute. Var IP4 props equals ni.get. Oh, I see. So we need to get it off here. IP.get. IP. There we go. So then IP4 props.index. The Googles, they are all good. Okay, now we are adding interface index. That's what we want there. Okay, so that means we go tlv.add tlv type.stdapi interface index IP4 props.index. What is the index? It's an int. Why can't we add an int? Cannot convert from int to string. I'm not trying to do that. Oh, okay, so here's what we should do. Cast it to an unsigned integer. But you know what I think I'm going to do instead is maybe I should just overload it. Bool uint32. Let's just do this. This is interesting. So let's get rid of that and that. And then we need to go to the overloads for this and create the same. Now all we're going to do here is we're going to have an int32. And we're just going to do this type uint value, which should basically do the same thing. And we'll do the same for, actually, uint32. That's going to be 64. That's going to be 64. And then we're good. Okay, simple. Friends museum. I can probably. You guys are really chatty tonight. It's awesome. Keeping yourselves way more entertained than I can do by myself. Right. Okay, with that out of the way, we've got index, we've got address, we've got MAC name. We need MTU. Where do we get the MTU from? Is that on IPv4? IP4 props. MTU. Standard API. Interface MTU. MTU. Getting close. This is kind of exciting. So with that, hey, look at that. It's going through the unicast addresses. You need to skip interfaces that are not IP. All right, so here we're going through the unicast addresses. Can we link this? No, because that's not, what is that? That's not actually an IEnumerable of any kind, is it? It's a collection of unicast IP address information collection. Get a numerator. Here we go. That's what I want. Dot where. We got link in here. Using system.link. So because we don't want IP, we're just going to filter out. Oops. A dot. Why can't we use this? Come on, dot. Collections generic. That should work. Unicast. I'm trying to avoid nasty syntax. Get enumerator dot. I guess, oh no, it's not, that's an IEnumerator, not an IEnumerable. Fizzer. Oh well, let's use the crappy syntax instead then. If ADDR dot, what are we checking here? We want to make sure that it is an IP. What are we doing here? We want to get the family and make sure that it's IP. I don't think we're going to have that problem, are we? Because IP is IP properties, so we probably don't need to skip over anything anyway. But for each one of these, we're going to have to add a, I assume, a subgroup to the group. Oh no. We do it for all of the interfaces. So we create one group per adapter, but we still only add... Oh no, we add more. So we don't need to group these up, we can just do whatever we like. Okay, so we're going to do something slightly different if it's IPv4 versus IPv6. Here we're going to go add TLV raw IP address. Yeah, this is interesting. 4 bytes. We're going to have to check to make sure that we get this correct. Okay, so if the address is IPv4, IP address, address family. This is what we want. I'm assuming like internetwork is what we're looking for. If okay, so I'm going to skip this. So if they're neither, then we're just going to continue. Otherwise, we're going to add the bits and pieces. So that's us doing exactly what this says here. So make sure that the family is INET or INET 6. Here we're doing some Vista related stuff. I'm going to come back to that. Love the hardware inside. Man, So if we have a prefix, we can add it. Otherwise, it might actually be worth, like, this is dealing with prefixes, but we don't have prefixes in IPv4, do we? I don't even see where the IPv6, that's an address, but I don't see prefixes. I wonder how it actually gets spat out on a proper machine that has prefixes. Coming up to 9:30 as well. What I might do is just do this. All right, so do that first. We'll come back to IPv6 in just a minute. Okay. So if it's IPv4, you can see, like, for the most part, this stuff here is probably not going to be used. And this is plus on link prefix length member will be populated. Otherwise, we'll end up with this other stuff. Okay. We just want the IP address straight off of the address. Address.address. Now let's just quickly check in on this again. This IP, this type IP is what? It's a raw. So it's expecting bytes. I wonder if that's going to do what we would expect it to do, because that is an integer. Get address bytes. There it is. So let's go tlv.add tlv type.stdapi IP. Else. You guys still playing along? Looks like you're having way more fun without me, to be honest. Standard IP. Is it scope that it's added to? Oh, so we still specify the IP. Okay, so pass in the scope only if it's IPv6. So we still need standard IP. We need scope if it's there, and this would be address dot scope ID, which is a long. Is that what this type is? IP6 scope. It's raw. That's interesting, isn't it? Address family. I wonder if I can actually leave that as is and see what it comes out as. The thing is, we didn't actually have any scopes spat out, did we? Let's have a look. I might leave that as is. Let's just double check. I'm going to go back to what I had before with this. So if that's not... Oops. And... It's bad. So we'll always add that. And if that is that, then we'll add the scope ID. But we do need to do the prefix thing. It's interesting that this has this on prefix length member if the current version is old enough, but I'm going to trust .NET in this regard. I'm wondering if that's going to handle that for us. So if we look at address dot prefix, I don't know what prefix origin is. Gets the value by source. Yep, don't worry about that. It's going to be dot address dot. Where did we say we were going to find? I saw prefix stuff before. Where was it? IPv6. Where was it? Prefix length is hanging off the address. On link prefix length. So, where is it? Any ideas? Anyone? Yeah, the music's pretty cool, hey. I'm quite happy with tonight's tunes. You should be able to see the names of the tunes just there. Under what I'm pointing. I can't find... Prefix origin is value of the unicast address prefix. And we're not worried about the source. We just want the prefix itself, right? IPv4 mask. Get the IPv4 mask. I should probably add that as well, right? So standard API IP. I assume netmask is what's being used when we add it. Ah, hang on a sec. So get interfaces here. Go through the adapter. Index, MAC address, name, MTU. We add the prefix, the IP and scope. Did I miss something here? Get interfaces MIB. So maybe we are actually using this more than anything else. So there you go. Netmask has exactly the same thing. Okay, so no, that's not what I wanted. There is a netmask associated with every address. And those netmasks are... Looks like it's raw. D-word mask. Okay, so it's passing in raw values for the mask. Okay, so let's just see what are we looking for? Address dot address dot. There's got to be a mask in here somewhere, right? Scope, maybe not. IPv4 mask. Get address bytes. Is there an IPv6 mask? Doesn't look like it, does it? Look at that. The actual address itself is deprecated. Scope ID. Yeah, I'm a little bit lost as to where we're going to get the netmask from. Oh no, that'll probably be okay. Let's have a look. I'm just going to run this and see what happens. Man, the amount of chat in here tonight is insane. I haven't been keeping up with it. Archbishop does look pretty young, not gonna lie. Eternal youth. It was an expensive night for me. Oh, is this the climbing thing? Yeah, yeah. I hope she's proud to reduce such a fine gentleman. Appreciate you taking the time out to check the walls with the young fella. Wish I had the power to wait. Yeah, me too, Archbishop. It was an expensive night for you. You got a bag and 12 months membership. That's awesome. Such a good sport for kids. Go rock climbing. OJ's going for when this. Yeah, I really, really want to open a gym locally. I do. Wouldn't that be lovely? Okay, let's just let this run. Oop. Expecting metatype keyword, but given a scope. Okay, so let's have a look at the call stack, see where that got. Right, so scope ID is not what we were hoping for. Okay, so we're saying that that is a raw, and we are giving it an int. What was the exception? Expecting keyword. This dot type to meta type. What is the meta type? The expected type is keyword, which makes no sense. Oh, it's because it's u long. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, so that's not gonna work, is it? stdapi. Okay, let's just quickly check again. Right. Yeah, so we need to do some funky shenanigans. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna remove this because I just want to see everything else doing the things. Yeah, the setting there is phenomenally good. Right. Let's see what happens. Oof, what do we got here? Object reference not set to instance of object. Address 169. Hang on a minute. Address. It's definitely an IPv4. So there's no mask on this. Isn't that interesting? So we need to wrap that in var mask equals if mask doesn't equal null, then let's add it if it's not null. Build. Whoops, I did that wrong, didn't I? It's supposed to go like this. That was really dumb. That's better. That makes way more sense. Build. Coming up to 20 minutes to go. Oof, what do we got now? IP props. If IP for props doesn't equal null, then we'll add these things. But one would argue that if if that is null, we shouldn't even see it. Eight. Is this the loopback? It looks like it is, hey. Yeah, loop back. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. IPv4 address. Ooh, interface is -1. That's interesting. Is that what we had before? Loopback is 127.0.0.1, which we have. We need to add the net mask somehow. MTU, what does the MTU say? Oh, the MTU is not even listed here. That's probably why it looks all out of whack, because the MTU is invalid for that. So yeah, for loopback adapter, you shouldn't actually have an MTU or an index. Yeah, I mean, you don't do a lot of stuff on loopback anyway. So the issue that we've got now is we need to set the net mask alongside the addresses, because as you can see from our output, we've got this one correct. Oh, hang on a sec. Yeah, okay, so the IPv4 net mask works, but the IPv6 doesn't. Maybe there's something specific to that we need to cater for. stdapi, net mask. Okay, so addr.address, which returns an IP address. Let's just have a quick look to see if there are... Is IPv6 site local? The abstraction seems to work relatively well, but I'm not sure how the netmask stuff is going to behave. Because IPv4 mask obviously is not doing what we want it. In the case of IPv6. Just going to set a breakpoint on here and see when this actually gets used. Build. Okay, so the current adapter IPv4 mask 0000. Okay, so this is an IPv6 address. So we don't actually want the IPv3. We don't want that net mask added. IP mask to network. Oh, wait up. It's IPv6 link local. Right. So this is an IPv6 address, and according to the address fan. Okay, right, that makes sense. So we want to skip this and only add that when it's IPv4. So we can put that here. Now I'm going to leave this as a nested if for now, because it's obvious that this stuff is going to be IPv4 specific in case there are other bits and pieces that we're going to add. Okay, so it's still coming out with the IPv6 net mask looking a little bit strange. It's as if for some reason we've labeled it incorrectly. This has come out correct. by the looks. Hang on, was that the Bluetooth one? Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Yeah, so the address has come out correct, but the IPv6 netmask has not. So that netmask should have been associated with this. For some reason, it's not. So if it's 6, if we have a netmask, then we should be able to add it. .255.255.255.0. So, and this is for an IPv4 address. Yep, which is exactly what we would expect, right? So we are sending it alongside, but for some reason it's not being parsed correctly. So let's just quickly validate that. Before we get close to the end of the stream, let's just make sure that we're not doing anything particularly silly. So the net mask is basically added in here. Let's just have a quick look. Interface IP net mask. Interface. So that does it for just the one, whereas here we're clearly adding it for many. But what I don't see is I don't see net masks being added here. The only place we add the mask is here. VSDK, are you sending the .NET thingy through Meterpreter? Yes, okay, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, so we are writing Meterpreter in .NET. So what we're doing is part of the build process. We compile and the DLLs end up on disk, and we've got symlinked out to Metasploit so that when we run, we actually take those binaries and ship them down as part of the staging process. But because we've got the debugger attached with the PDBs, we can actually see the debug DLLs come in, get reflectively loaded, and I should say loaded via reflection, wire themselves in, and invoke the functionality that we've been giving it. But I'm trying to figure out exactly why I'm not seeing what I would expect to see. So here you end up getting the IP address table out, and here's where we're adding the mask, which is immediately after just the v4 IP. But nothing here implies v6. Whereas down here, interface, MAC address, MAC, MTU. Is there anywhere else that we specify MTU? Yeah, we do. We add it there as well. MAC address, MTU. And then for all of the unicast addresses, which is what we're going through, we're skipping prefix related stuff at the moment, but we either add IP or we add IP and IP6 scope. I wonder if oops. Ah, that's right, I need to go bin enable clipboard. Now the clipboard should work across my virtual machines. Copy. There we go. Okay, let's see where this is actually parsed. Here we go, get interfaces. So for each interface, this is going to be helpful. So net masks aren't tightly associated with addresses. They're just thrown all together to match up. This could be done better by creating another group. Yes, that's exactly what we need to do. So we get the IP and then the net mask. And if there's no net mask, we look for the prefix. Okay, so that would mean only a network prefix to figure out the net mask from that. So we need to give it the prefix for it to appear in IPv6. Still doesn't really give us that much, but basically what it's saying is that we have to make sure that we pass in all of the things, otherwise it's not going to do what we want it to do. So S equals IPv6. Okay, yeah, so we do need to just fill out all the gaps before this is technically going to function as we would expect it to function. So we do need to give it this scope ID, but we need to give it the scope ID as a block of raw bytes as per this D word. Righto, so I don't know how to hack this together doing it messily. So we might just have to do a bit conversion in netconfig. So scope ID. Right, so that's the scope ID. Now the scope ID comes through as a long, but it should be a raw. Now if it's, it says that it should be a size of a D word, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is, right? So if that is, if we just cast that to a uint, right? So we get the scope ID as a uint. So this is doing exactly what they're currently doing. But we want to be able to go convert.to system.convert .to, nope, that's not what we want. To, not to Boolean. Yeah, we want to go the other way. All right, I'm just going to be dirty for now. New byte array. Okay, so it's going to be what is that saying? Cannot convert to byte. Let's see what this looks like. Just to see. I might actually have it the wrong way around, but this needs to be hacked briefly. Okay, sessions -1. What do we get? Not what I was expecting. Seven zero zero zero. scope. We definitely had this right, yeah? Raw 1434. Raw 1434. Okay, so that is what we would expect. It's effectively 4 bytes. One, two, three. Still confused as to why the net mask is not being associated with the IPv4 address. But we're at least making some progress, right? So like we're coming up to 10 o'clock. I'm going to stop at this point. I'm pretty happy with the progress that we've made. Like we fixed the previous issue. We unfortunately had to dive into some Metasploit related stuff to figure out why our libraries weren't being loaded and our commands weren't being hooked in properly. But at this point, I think we're working our way nicely through the ipconfig related TLV packet stuff. I might do a little bit of reading again just to make sure that the stuff that we're looking to reference is actually referenceable without going to pinvoke. I'll have a bit of a read just to see if there is something about what we're doing here that could and should map nicely over to MSF, so that next on stream when we don't have too much pain and you don't get bored and you don't bugger off on your own tangents and chat amongst yourselves. No, I'm loving the fact that you guys are all talking and hanging out. That's what this is all about. So that's really cool. So if there are any questions, please hit me up on Discord or Twitter or anything like that. And thanks again to everybody for joining in. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for the follow, Sparkle. You are a legend. Thanks for all the cheers and the questions and the support. As always, I very much appreciate it. And watch this space. We may do a bit of a shifty of things this week and maybe go back to an old CTF challenge or something to mix things up. So I don't really think I've got anything else to add. So be kind to each other. And thanks again, Atwolf, for being a mod for me. I didn't even see the naughtiness appear on stream. But yeah, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. As always, I will get an emote up very soon. Maybe get system related. I need a T related emote as well, hey? But you guys are all fantastic. Until next time, thanks very much. Ciao.